All right, Cowboys Nation, buckle up, because what we're diving in now is a full, in-depth projection of the Dallas Cowboys roster heading into the NFL regular season. This isn't just your basic depth chart rundown. We're talking real talk, position by position, breaking down who's likely to stick, who's on the bubble, and what the team dynamics are shaping up to be based on everything we've seen and heard so far. And let's be honest, when you're talking about the Cowboys, every detail matters because this is a team constantly under the microscope, with expectations through the roof and very little margin for error. Let's start under center, the quarterback room. It's not really a mystery who's at the top of the food chain here. Dak Prescott is your QB1. That's not up for debate. But here's the thing. If Dak doesn't stay healthy, none of what we're about to discuss matters. Seriously, the whole operation falls apart. Because while the Cowboys might carry three quarterbacks, Dak, Will Grier, and rookie Joe Milton, there's a huge drop-off behind number 4. Will Grier isn't the kind of guy you want playing meaningful snaps in the regular season. He's a locker room presence, a clipboard holder, someone to help Dak get ready and keep the vibe right on the sideline. Joe Milton, he's raw potential. Big arm, big ceiling, but still a developmental piece who's going to play a ton in the preseason. He's more about the future than the present. So again, and we can't stress this enough, Dak has to stay healthy or this team's chances nosedive fast. Now let's pivot to the backfield. This running back room looks almost nothing like it did a year ago. Gone are the familiar faces, and in their place are a group of guys with something to prove. Javonte Williams comes in on a 1-year deal. So it does Miles Sanders. Then you've got Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa, and Deuce Vaughn added via the draft or as young prospects. Hunter Luepke is back as the lone fullback, which might actually give him an edge in terms of roster security, simply because he plays a unique role. But here's the cold reality. None of these guys, with the possible exception of Jaden Blue, is guaranteed a roster spot. The contracts are cheap, and the leash will be short. Javonte Williams is a name that carries some weight, or at least it used to. He was explosive early in his career, but that knee injury 2 years ago derailed everything. He hasn't looked the same since, and unless something changes fast, he could find himself on the outside looking in. Yes, he has value as a pass protector and on third down, but is that enough? Especially when you consider what Jaden Blue brings to the table. Youth, versatility, and a real shot at becoming the Cowboys' lead back. Then there's Miles Sanders, who once looked like a budding star in Philadelphia. He's got that quick-cut style and home run speed, but he was underwhelming in Carolina. The concern here is that he might be too much of a system-dependent back, the kind of player who only thrives in ideal situations. Is this Dallas offense the right ecosystem for him? Hard to say. And if not, he could be a camp casualty. The dark horse in all this is Jaden Blue. He's the one who could really make noise. We've seen flashes of what he can do, and he might be poised for a breakout. But that leads to another question. Can he handle a full workload? At Texas, he had 134 carries. That's not nothing, but it's also not bell cow volume. Can he be a 20-carry-a-game guy in the NFL? That remains to be seen. And let's not forget Deuce Vaughn. Undersized but explosive, a spark plug type who can contribute in the passing game and on special teams, but not likely to be your lead back. And Phil Maffa? He's in the mix, but he's got ground to make up. Now, zooming out a little, what does this tell us about the Cowboys' confidence in this running back group? Well, it tells us they're open to upgrades. If things don't look right early in training camp, if Javonte looks like he's lost a step, if Miles isn't clicking, if nobody takes the job by the horns, don't be surprised if the front office starts sniffing around for reinforcements. Running back is a plug-and-play position in today's league. You can find guys on the street who can come in and contribute. That's just the reality. And now let's talk wide receivers. If we'd had this conversation 2 weeks ago, it would have been a very different tone. But now, things are looking up. CeeDee Lamb is locked in as your WR1. That's been the case, but the addition of George Pickens changes everything. Say what you want about his off-field maturity or whatever questions there are about his football character. The guy can play. Big catch radius, physical, and aggressive at the catch point. You put him opposite Lamb, and suddenly this receiver room looks like one of the better units in the league. Still, there are questions. Jalen Tolbert as your number 2? That's shaky. As your number 3, that's more palatable. Cavani Turpin brings speed and gadget value. Jet sweeps, return game, things like that. But he's not a full route tree guy. Jonathan Mingo is someone they want to develop, but he's not ready for prime time yet. And then after that, it's a free-for-all. You've got guys like Tyron Billy Johnson, Jalen Cropper, Josh Kelly, and a host of others fighting for 1 or maybe 2 spots. Some of these guys might land on the practice squad, but it's going to be a battle. Adding George Pickens didn't just improve the top of the depth chart. It made life easier for everyone else. It shifts Tolbert into a more manageable role. It gives the offense a true perimeter threat. And when you pair that with what Lamb does over the middle and out of the slot, plus Jake Ferguson at tight end, we'll get to him in a minute. Suddenly there's space to work with. Speaking of tight ends, the room didn't see a ton of change, but that doesn't mean there isn't movement. Jake Ferguson is back and needs to bounce back after a somewhat disappointing 2024 season. He dealt with injuries, looked a step slower, maybe added a bit too much weight, trying to be a better blocker. Whatever the case, he needs to return to his 2023 form, because that version of Ferguson was a legit weapon. Luke Schoonmaker is still here, and the Cowboys have a history of undrafted guys stepping up at this position. Peyton Hendershot, John Stevens, even Sean McKeon in years past. This year, maybe that guy is Rivaldo Fairweather or Tyler Neville. But again, the focus has to be on Ferguson. If he's right, this offense can be deadly in the middle of the field. Now, let's get into the offensive line. Arguably the most underappreciated piece of any team's success. The projected starters are Tyler Guyton at left tackle, Tyler Smith at left guard, Cooper Beebe at center, Tyler Booker at right guard, and Terrence Steele at right tackle. That's your 5. But offensive lines are fragile. One injury can mess up the whole structure. And depth matters a lot more than people realize. The backups are where things get murky. Brock Hoffman probably makes the roster. Asim Richards should stick. Robert Jones and TJ Bass are in the mix. A Johnny Cornelius, Nathan Thomas. These are guys who'll be battling for depth spots. Then you've got veterans like Sadiq Charles and AJ Adeni brought in late in the process, probably to give the team more preseason depth. Don't underestimate how important that is. You don't want Joe Milton running for his life behind a line made you. Flipping over to the defensive side of the ball, things get more complicated and, frankly, more concerning in some spots. Let's start with the interior defensive line, because that's an area where the Cowboys have needed more production for years now. At the 3 technique, OSA Odigizua returns and is expected to start. He's shown flashes, no doubt, but flashes aren't enough anymore. He got paid, not a massive deal, but still a vote of confidence from the front office. Now it's time for that investment to pay off. Pressures are fine, but sacks, forced fumbles, and impact plays are what this defense needs from him, especially in a system that's supposed to be aggressive up front. Solomon Thomas is a rotational piece who will play snaps, but nobody's expecting pro, bowl-level disruption from him. Denzel Daxon and Tommy Akingbesset are developmental guys. Maybe one sticks around on the practice squad, but neither is expected to make major contributions in the regular season. The real wild card in the middle is Motzie Smith. The Cowboys will give him every opportunity again this year at nose tackle. But let's be honest, year 1 was underwhelming. He was better against the run, sure, but better doesn't mean good. And if he doesn't take a big leap this season, you have to seriously question whether that leap is ever going to happen. He was a high pick, and they need him to be more than just a rotational run stopper. They need dominance. So far, we haven't seen it. The edge rush group, thankfully, is a lot more promising. Micah Parsons is the headliner, obviously, one of the most disruptive defensive players in the league. He'll be on a snap count in the preseason, if he even plays at all, and honestly, the Cowboys should just get his contract extension done before camp starts. Remove the distraction, lock him in, and avoid the same tired, will he or won't he, storyline for another offseason. Behind Parsons, you've got Dante Fowler, Donovan Ezeku, Marshawn Nealand, Sam Williams, and Peyton Turner. That's 6 players right there who seem locked in for roster spots. Fowler's on a short-term deal, Turner's got a 2-year contract, and you used serious draft capital on Ezraku, Nealand, and Williams. They're not going anywhere. That leaves a bunch of fringe names like Tyrus Wheat, Luigi Villain, and Ernest Brown battling for practice squad spots. Those guys will play a ton in the preseason because Parsons and Fowler won't, and even your second-tier guys like Nealand and Ezeraku might be on limited snaps. Expect to see Wheat and Villain flying around in August, trying to earn a spot in the back of the rotation or at least keep their names in the building. Now at linebacker, the situation is messy. First off, DeMarvion Overshown isn't expected to be ready for Week 1. That's a big blow because there was a lot of hope that he could make a leap in this new defensive scheme. But coming off another knee injury, you have to put an asterisk by his name until further notice. That opens the door for other names to step up. The Cowboys brought in Kenneth Murray, Shamar James, and Jack Sanborn, none of whom are guaranteed roster spots based on their contracts. Murray's a former first-rounder who never really panned out with the Chargers. James is a rookie, and Sanborn had some solid tape in Chicago, but isn't a lock. The returnees include Damone Clark and Malik Jefferson, with Justin Barron, Buddy Johnson, and DeMarquis Gates all in the mix as well. It's going to be a crowded room, but not necessarily a high-quality one. Special teams play could be what decides the last couple of spots here. In the secondary, cornerback health will define the unit. The hope is that by Week 16, you've got Trayvon Diggs and Jordan Lewis back on the field, with Darren Bland continuing to play at a high level. Bland has turned into a major asset, versatile, smart, and productive. If Diggs and Lewis are back and healthy, the ideal scenario is that Bland moves into the slot full-time, with Diggs and Lewis manning the outside. That would be your best trio. At safety, you've got 4 clear roster locks: Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, and Wanya Thomas. After that, it's wide open. Mike Smith, Elijah Clark, and Zion Tapilafetwe are battling to become the 5th safety, a guy who primarily contributes on special teams. Preseason reps will be huge for these players because the top 4 safeties aren't going to play much, if at all, in August. Finally, let's touch on special teams. Brandon Aubrey returns as the kicker, Brian Anger remains your punter, and Trent Sieg is the long snapper. Cavani Turpin is expected to continue as both the kick and punt returner, but there are a few challengers trying to carve out a role behind him. Deuce Vaughn could get some looks. So could Jaden Blue, even though he didn't return kicks in college. Wanya Thomas, Paris Campbell, and Jalen Cropper are also in the mix, but right now it's still Turpin's job to lose. The roster may look mostly set on paper, but in reality, there are battles all over the field. From running back to linebacker to nickel corner, nothing is guaranteed, and the preseason will be a war zone for those last few spots. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a moment that stunned fans and analysts alike, NFL legend Jerry Rice made headlines this week with a direct and unfiltered critique of the Dallas Cowboys, reigniting one of football's oldest rivalries. Speaking during a media appearance, the Hall of Famer didn't mince words when expressing his views on the Cowboys' recent performances and long-standing reputation. Rice, widely regarded as the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, took aim at what he described as a culture of underachievement in Dallas, despite the franchise's iconic status and immense popularity. The Cowboys are always in the conversation, but when it matters most, they come up short, Rice said. They talk a lot, but the results just don't match the hype. It's been like that for years. The comments struck a nerve across the league, particularly among Cowboys fans, who quickly took to social media to defend their team. However, Rice's critique resonated with many who have observed the team's postseason struggles over the past 2 decades. Despite regular season success and a roster full of talent, the Cowboys have failed to make a serious Super Bowl push, a point that Rice emphasized as part of a larger pattern. Rice, a longtime San Francisco 49ers star, knows a thing or two about winning. He played a pivotal role in 3 Super Bowl victories and holds multiple NFL records. His pointed remarks carry the weight of experience and success, making them difficult to dismiss as simple rivalry banter. While the Cowboys organization has yet to officially respond, the remarks are expected to fuel debates as the offseason unfolds. With expectations once again sky high in Dallas, Jerry Rice's blunt honesty may serve as both a warning and a challenge. Whether the Cowboys can prove him wrong remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. When Jerry Rice speaks, the NFL listens. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.